guys, welcome back to Hookedbysimplicio. This is Jeanin, and I do have another video tutorial for you guys, which is this bralette or bikini top. I know I just posted a video about a crop top that I made previously, but this was so easy to make and it was so fast that I was able to finish it on the same day, film it on the same day, and edit it at the same day. So this is just very easy top that a beginner can do as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed making this top as much as I enjoyed it. And just in case you're gonna make any of my tops, please do tag me so I can post your works through my Facebook account and through my Instagram account. Okay, and again, don't forget guys to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be more than happy to answer and help you with that. Okay, so these are the materials that we need to start the top. First, you need to have a 3mm crochet hook, and you also need scissors. You need a yarn needle and a yarn. So I'm using the same yarn with all of my videos. This is an Indophil yarn. I'll be putting the description of my seller or the information of my seller on the description box below. And I do have stitch markers, which is optional. If you don't have stitch markers, you can use bobby pin or you can use a paper clip. That could work as well. So let's get started with our tutorial. We're gonna start with our cup. So for you to be able to get the exact size for your top, I recommend you measuring under your bust until it's hard to explain, but you have to measure from under your bust to your nipple, if that makes sense. And then you're going to make a chain the same as the measurement that you have got from that. And for me, I need 13, so I will be chaining 13 plus 2. So do your slip knot, whatever, or doesn't matter how you make it, but just make a slip knot, and then we're gonna chain 13 plus 2. Right now we're going to do a double crochet on the third chain from the hook. So we're going to do a double crochet on this third chain right here. Yarn over, put your hook through that stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and then pull through all the loops. So you're just gonna do this until you reach the end, and you should have 13 stitches across. Alright, so I am on my 13th stitch. Now for us to make the cup, we're going to do another double crochet on the last stitch where we make our double crochet. So you should have 2 double crochets on this very last stitch. Now we're gonna chain 1, and we're going to put 2 more double crochets on the same stitch right here. Right, and now just double crochet across this row right here. So you should have a total of 14 stitches, including these 2 increases that we made. And also what I always do here is I always hide, or whenever I do my stitches, I stitch over this tail, you know, so it could save me a lot of time later. So just do your double crochets across this side right here. Then once you reach the end, I'm gonna show you how we're going to do the next row, and then I'm also going to cut the excess yarn from this tail end. Okay, so I just finished my last row here. So basically this is gonna be your first row. So for you not to lose count, and for you to have the exact same size as the other cup that we're going to do later on, make sure that you count the stitch on each side. So for this one, I do have 14 and 14 on each side. That already includes the increase that we have for this top. Okay, now we're going to do the next row, and you're going to do this until you have enough coverage for your bust. For me, I always finish my cup when I'm already, or once I already have 28 stitches on both sides. So let's do the second row. So I'll be chaining 2. I'm gonna turn my work, and I'm gonna do a double crochet on this very first stitch right here. This chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, but let's go ahead and make our double crochets. So you should end up with 14 double crochets on this side. Alright, so I'm done with my 14 stitch. Now we're going to do the increase on the chain 1 that we made earlier, which is this one. If you can see that, guys, this one there. So we're gonna do 2 double crochets, chain 1, then we're going to add 2 more double crochets. So once you have your 2 double crochets, or after we finished our increase, do a double crochet across this. You should have 14 double crochets, but the total stitches for both sides should end up 16 stitches. Okay, so go ahead and make or continue making or increasing your cup. Make sure to write down how many stitches you end up, so you can do the exact same thing on the other cup that you're going to make. Okay, so again, for me, I end up with 28 stitches for both side. Once we're on that part, I'm gonna show you how we are going to complete the top. But for this one, you have to make sure you make 2 cups. The first cup that I'm going to make is I'm gonna fasten it off, and the second cup I won't cut the yarn yet. I'll show you later why, but go ahead and make your cup. Once you're done, go back here and let's proceed with finishing the top. Okay, so I just finished my cup here, and I didn't fasten it off because, as I mentioned earlier, the second cup we're not gonna fasten it off, but I've already made one off cam. So this is my other cup, and we're going to stitch this together up. So as I mentioned, I didn't fasten off, but we're going to do chaining 2, and we're going to do 2 single crochets on each of the double crochet and chain stitches that you can see. So this is a double crochet stitch. You can see that clearly. So this is a double crochet stitch. You're gonna put 2 single crochets here, and this is the chain. Let me show you guys. This is a chain, and we're gonna put 2 double crochets on that as well. This is for the lower part of the top. So I've already chained 2, and I'll be putting 2 single crochets across. So you have to make sure that you're putting 2 double crochets on the chain and to the double crochet stitch. Okay, so I'm already here at the end, and once you reach this part, you're gonna chain 1, and you're going to grab your other cup, and you're going to look for the chain right here. So you're just going to look for this chain 2, and you're gonna put your hook through that, and you're just gonna grab your yarn, pull it through, and just make a slip stitch, and then you're gonna chain 1 and make a single crochet on that same chain space, and 2 more or 1 more double crochet, and you're going to do that across until you reach the end of our top. Okay, so once you reach this part right here, you're just gonna do chaining 2, and you're going to turn your work, and you're going to do a single crochet on this very first stitch that you can see here, because this double crochet or these 2 chains that we made doesn't count a double crochet. So once you're on this part, just do single crochet, 1 more row of single crochet across, so you should have a total of 3 rows of single crochet for the bottom part of your cup. Then once you have finished that, we will do the other part of the top here. Okay, so once you got to the chain 1 space part, you're just going to do a single crochet on the chain itself, and then just proceed with making single crochet across the top. And I'll show you guys the next row, because there's going to be like a little difference between with the chains from this row to the next row. Okay, so once you have reached this part, remember earlier we did chain 2, but now we're just gonna chain 1. We're gonna turn our work, and we're just gonna do another row of single crochet here. Then after that, I'm gonna show you guys how we are going to make the straps for this top. Okay, so once you got to your last single crochet stitch, you're going to chain 100 for the strap. So I already have chain 100, but I'll be chaining 1 more, which is 101, and this is gonna be the replacement for the stitch that was gone. So after this, we're going to do a slip stitch on the second chain from your hook, which is this chain right here. Which is this chain right here. We're going to do our slip stitch there, and we're gonna do it across until we ended up going back to our very first chain right here, which is this one, this chain right here beside our single crochet. Okay, so once you're done with that, we're going to proceed with going through the side and making another strap for this bralette. Okay, so I'm on my last slip stitch here. There you go. Now remember the first chain 2 that we made, which is this one. This is where you're going to attach your strap. So on the chain 2, let me show you that again. On the chain 2 that we made earlier for this part, this is where you're going to make a slip stitch for your strap. So this is my chain 2, and then I'll make a slip stitch on that. See? And then we're going to proceed on this side. So remember the steps that I'm showing you, because this is the exact same thing that you're going to do on the other side of the cup. Okay, so now we are going to make a single crochet on the very first stitch on this side. So basically you're just gonna do 28 single crochets here until you reach this chain here, and you have to stop because we're going to make the strap of this top again. So just make a single crochet here, and they're recommending you hiding this tail end as well. This is from our first cup, so just hide that, so will save you a lot of time later on for hiding the ends. But just go ahead and make your single crochets across until you reach the chain, okay? Alright, so I'm already on my chain here, and I'll be doing one more single crochet on that chain, and I'm gonna chain 10. Right, I already have my I already have my 10 chains here, and I'm gonna put a stitch marker on that 10th stitch, and then just proceed with making your strap. So you should have, or you should chain 90 more to have 100 chains for the strap, okay? So I already have my 100 chains, and I have a stitch marker on my 10th stitch from the cup, and we're going to chain another one, so that's 101, and you're going to do the slip stitch until you reach the stitch before the chain marker. So go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna show you guys later how we're going to make like the X sign on the bralette, okay? So once you have reached this chain before your chain marker, this is, or stitch marker, sorry, this is where we're going to do the strap that comes from here, and then it's gonna end up on this part. I'll show you guys the technique of how you can do that, because the first time I tried doing this, my strap from here to here, like the X part that's happening on this bralette, as you can see in my intro, it was too short, so when I wear it, it's pulling this part right here, which doesn't look good. So now I'm gonna show you guys how you're just gonna have enough strap for that. So remember, we didn't do anything on this chains yet, so we're going to do the same chains that we have here, which is we're gonna chain 10 and we're gonna stop there. And again, this depends on how many stitches you end up, but for me I have 28, so we're going to chain another 28 for this part right here, okay? Alright, so I have 28. Now I'll be adding 3 more chains, so if you count this, you're gonna have a total of 41 chains. Since this is 28, so if you just have the same size as me, this is gonna be 28 chains plus 10, 38 plus 3, you should have 41 chains right here. Okay, so once you have made the chains depending on your size, we're going to connect this strap right here on this part. So we're going to do this on the other side of the cup. So since this is our right cup, we're gonna do it on the left, and we're gonna do it on this very last stitch right here. If you could see that, that's where we're going to connect this one. So I'm gonna put my hook through that, yarn over, pull through, and this is a slip stitch. So after that, you're gonna chain 1, you're gonna turn your work, and we are going to do a slip stitch across this chain. until we reach this part right here, because we're still gonna continue doing the slip stitch here, and we're still gonna do single crochet on this side. So go ahead and make a slip stitch on each of the chains that we have here. So I am now close on my stitch marker, and this is gonna be my last slip stitch for this part. There you go. Now this is the time we're gonna remove our stitch marker, and for this part we're just gonna proceed with putting slip stitch on this part right here, if you saw that. So let me go ahead and repeat that. You're just gonna do a simple slip stitch on this chain, but you have to make sure that you're doing a slip stitch correctly, because we don't want our slip stitch or our strap to be twisted. So make sure that the V shape of the chain is facing you whenever you do your slip stitch. Same thing with this part right here. So just proceed with making this part right here, and once we have reached our last slip stitch here, we're now going to do a single crochet on the chain space from your cup, and then after that we're going to just do a simple single crochet across this part. So once you reach the end here, you are going to leave this last stitch here, our last stitch here, for the strap like this for the other side, because this is where it's gonna end up. So for this one we're going to chain one, and we're just gonna fasten off, and we're going to secure this part. Go. So this is what the other side looks for now. See? And now you're just gonna do the same thing we did on this side to this side. It's pretty much gonna be the same thing. So what we're gonna do here, let me show you that first, how I attach my so for the other side of the strap, we're just gonna do a slip knot. Do your slip knot or whatever you make it. And for this, you're just going to look for this chain one right here. Remember, we did a chain one on the last row of the single crochet for the bottom of your top. Just look for the chain one, and there's a stitch on top of it, the very first stitch. This is where you're going to do a slip knot. Oh, sorry, a slip stitch rather. Once you have made your slip stitch, you're going to proceed with making chaining 100. And once you have done chaining 100, we're going to proceed with making a slip stitch on each of that, or 101 rather. Chain 101 chains for the strap, and then do slip stitch across it. And again, don't forget that you're going to end up your strap on the chain 2 that you made for the very first row, which is for me, this is my chain 2, and you're going to slip stitch on that, and then proceed with just doing single crochet here, which you should have 28 single crochets. Single crochet on this chain, and then chain 10, put your stitch marker, and then proceed with making 91 more chains. Do a slip stitch before your stitch marker, and then just make 41 chains for this, and you have to chain it on this very last part of our top. So it's pretty much the same thing on this side. You just have to repeat that for this one. So go ahead and do that. I'm gonna fast forward here on my end, and I'm gonna show you how my top finished. Okay. So I've already reached the end part of my top. I'm just gonna do my last single crochet, and we're now gonna fasten off, and we're gonna secure this part. And this is how the top looks like after the tails has been sewn on and everything. So this is what it should look like. I'll show you guys later how it really looks when it's already on me, but this is pretty much the tutorial. It's just a simple bralette, and I hope you guys enjoyed making this top as much as I enjoyed it. If you have questions about this top, just reach me through my social media sites, and I'll be more than happy to help you with all of the things that you have questions with this one. Okay, and don't forget to subscribe and tag me to your photos just in case you have made any of this top or if you created this top. Okay, so you have a great one, everyone, and see you on my next one. Bye.